All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be assignment number 2. I left assignment number 1 a little bit awkwardly at the end there, but I just wanted to show you what I was doing here. So if you were following along, you created these 3 slides, and they should look similar to what I created. If you have any issues with that, go ahead and go back through that video to try to get yourself back into that position. Okay. At the very end, I added a slide called Science. I don't want that slide to still be there. I was going to try to show you something, and so what I'm going to do is actually kind of go off in a different direction real quickly. All I want you to do is to observe at this point. Don't, I mean, you can explore, but I don't want this to be part of the work that you submit. What I'm going to do real quickly is I'm going to open up a new blank presentation that has nothing on it. And I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up that designer tab here. And so right here, you can see there's some different kind of like generic ideas that I could click on to start off my slide. But watch what happens if I type Science here as my title. I'm going to see, after a short delay, I have a bunch of kind of science-themed kind of cool little layouts, all right? But, I mean, I was experimenting with this a little bit, and it's kind of crazy what it can do, but, you know, like if I put in China, okay, thanks for a little while, and then look, I've got a picture of the Great Wall of China, okay? I've got some different kind of things that might be thematically relevant to China. If I type in Alexander Hamilton, so, I've got Mount Rushmore here, right? So it was pretty interesting to me that it could take just the basic kind of text that I put on that, and it can, create a search, and with that make some recommendations about some background themes that might be relevant to the presentation that I'm making. So this designer preview is pretty cool, and I noticed that as I go and I populate more slides that it does kind of react to what you put on the slide, and it populates some really kind of quick click variants on how you might want to present that information. This is a really powerful tool, especially for amateurs who are just trying to go and make something look attractive in a very quick way. Okay, I will say that not all of the slides that they present are right or good, but it's definitely a powerful tool if you're really just trying to create something that that looks nice in a very quick, short amount of time. Okay? All right. So I'm going to go back to where we left off in these 3 slides. If you still have the science slide, just click on it and press the delete key. You can also press this delete button to get rid of a slide. And we're going to continue to kind of add to this presentation. Okay, so to move forward, we're going to add a new slide here, and we're going to go with just a basic title and content slide, where I'm going to put my title. I'm going to put formatting, text, and shapes. Clicking down into the placeholder. So remember, it's important to remember we've got what are called placeholders on slides. This is the title placeholder, and this is the text placeholder. Okay, and or the content is another word for it. Here we're going to put, so formatting text and shapes. We're going to say, you know, apply style to text. Enter. And I'm going to press tab to indent from here. We're going to do, let's say, font size. Enter. Font style. Enter. Font color. All right. And so from here, we're going to look at how do we change the size. Let's highlight size, and we can either click next to our font size number here and we can change it, or if we want to just like let the computer find our different sizes, we can use the increase font size to change the size like so. Font style includes things like bolding and italics and underline are all examples of font style. And then we also have our font color. Here I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to apply a color. Notice that my color theme right here matches the theme of my presentation. If I chose a different design theme, I would have a different list of colors, and this is a way of Microsoft helping you match your colors. So let's find, you know, a nice kind of bright color, kind of a bright happy color here. Okay. I will say some people, when they're like a really common mistake is that when people are trying to apply a background color to text, sometimes they will use this highlighter tool. And this is actually a really personal pet peeve of mine. This does not provide a good background color. You should really avoid highlighting. A highlighter tool is used specifically, you know, when you are taking notes, sharing notes, you highlight it. You can highlight things to like make them stand out, but that's not like a design tool. It is a highlighting tool, just the same as like when you're highlighting handwritten notes, okay? Instead, what you would want to do is you would want to look at the fill color, okay? And we're going to show you how to do that. So from font color, I'm going to tap enter, and we're going to look at fill color. I can see it's still applying that green text, so I'm going to highlight, change this back to its standard black, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply a shape fill to see how that looks. Oop. Well, that was not what I expected. It applied it to the entire box, which is where I was going next. Let me see if I can get it to apply just to that piece of text there. No, it won't let me do that. Okay, so that is something that I could do in the desktop version, is I could just apply background color to a specific line. Here it's simplifying that for me, so it is only letting me change the background color here. So I'm going to undo that. I do want to look at this ellipse, this dot, 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 and look at some of the different things here. So we can go ahead and we can do, you know, strike through. If I double click that, highlight that text, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to apply the strike through font here. Okay. You see we also have the ability to subscript or superscript if you're doing chemistry or algebra. Okay. Up at the top here, I'm going to look at my title, and maybe I don't want this to be in all capital letters. Highlighting the title, I'm going to click on more font options. And I'm going to change the case. I'm going to change it to capitalize each word. All right. It's going to give it a different look. Maybe that's what I prefer. Okay. All right. So I have here a text box, and I have different pieces of information here. Okay, but I am not satisfied because I want more on this slide. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my layout, and I'm going to change this to a to content slide. Notice that when I make this change of layout, I don't lose the information I already put in there. Okay, it's just going to kind of like reorient it and give me a different space. Okay, here I'm going to apply style to shapes and placeholders. Okay, so the placeholder itself, as we have seen, we can change. I'm going to press tab and do shape fill, shape outline. Okay, let's start there. While I have this shape selected, I'm going to click on my fill, and here I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it kind of a pale orangey color, gold color. I'm also going to change the outline itself to a dark gold color. Okay. Does it allow me to change the thickness? Yeah. So if I click off, this doesn't really show up very well. So I'm going to click back on my object, and I'm going to change the weight, that is the thickness of it, to a larger thickness. That makes it stand out. And I'm seeing here that I also have this kind of cool feature here. What happens if I change it to scribble? That's pretty cool. All right. So I've gone ahead, I've given it a shape fill and a shape outline. All right. And I can also change the shape itself. So I'm going to click here. And we're going to do change shape. Okay, so I'm going to change this not to a square, but like let's do a rounded rectangle. Boom. Whoop. Let me try this one more time. Select. Is it going to let me change it? No, it's going to create a new one for me. All right, hold on. Okay, so yeah, no, I can't just change the shape. That's again something that I could do on the desktop version. Here, if I have an idea in mind, I could beforehand, I could choose a different shape and then fill it with text, and we might do that at a later assignment. But the last thing that we can do, so instead of changing shape, we can do shape style. So I'm changing my text there. And here I can see that there's this third box here, and these are some pre-made styles that I can choose from. Maybe I want it to have a shadow around it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that intense effect, which applies that color. Now, I actually like it the way that it was before. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click the back button to move back to this one that I created with the scribble sides. And there's my slide. Okay, so we looked at some different ways to change our font, to change our case. Okay, so we looked at a lot of these buttons up here. We also went and we looked at ways that we can change the background. Okay, I gave you a note about highlighter. Make sure that you don't use that as design. It's really not a good way to go. It ends up looking really tacky. And I just wanted you also to know that if I change my font here on my title, something obvious, much different, notice that it doesn't change for other slides. And that's important to know because when you're creating a cohesive style throughout a presentation, you really want to make sure that those headings match in style, color, etc. Okay? And we'll talk more about that later. Okay, see you.